Hey Year 7s, today we're going to go through exercise 8G, which is on describing chances on page 459 of your textbook. Now, I want to do something a little bit different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the camera down so you guys can see the table in front of me. And you can see that I've got a pack of playing cards, right? So with a pack of playing cards, you guys should be generally quite familiar, but just in case you aren't, with the playing card, there are 13 different cards, and each of those 13 different cards has a different suit. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, but except one, instead of one, we use an ace, and we have jack, queen, king. So that's 11, 12, 13 kind of, right? So we have jack, which looks like that, a queen, which would look like, let's see if I can find one, a queen, and a king, which looks like that, right? So we have 13 cards, and each of them has a different suit. So there's spades, there are hearts, there are diamonds, and there are clubs. How perfect, all right? So that's the idea, okay? So there's 4 different suits, and there's 13 different cards. Okay, so that gives us a multiple of 4 times 13, which gives us a total of 52 cards. There are 52 cards in this deck right now, okay? And they're all different, and I can show you they're all different, okay? So what I want to do is I'm going to shuffle these cards a couple of times, and I want you to tell me, or I want you to think about, what's the chance that this top card over here is going to be a king? Remember, there are a total of 52 cards, and there's only 4 kings. The king of diamonds, king of hearts, king of clubs, king of spades. There's only 4 different kings, and there's 52 cards here. So I'm going to shuffle, watch closely, and you tell me how many, or what the chance of a king appearing on the top is. Just in case you don't believe me, I'm going to shuffle it a different way as well. Alright, I'm quite happy with that. Alright, what's the chance of this card at the top being a king? Well, let's see. So, I've actually ended up with all 4 kings. Now, obviously, you're going to use your brain and think, well, Mr. Lance done something wrong. He's done something illegal. There's the chance of 4 kings appearing and him knowing where they are is so low. There should be no way he should be able to find those kings so easily. And you're right, I did something called a false shuffle, which means I pretended to shuffle but didn't actually shuffle. Now, you're using your skills of probability. You're thinking, well, I know the probability of a king appearing is really, really low. So there's no way that he should be able to find those kings, and you're right. So let's go ahead and learn about describing chance. Alright, so when we're talking about probability, it's the study of chance, right? So what's the probability of a certain event happening? So if, for example, I have tails landing on the uppermost, meaning it being on top, so a tails when a 20-cent coin is tossed, well, we know that there's only 2 options. We know that there's tails and there's heads. And we also know that the chance of both of them is equally likely. In other words, it's an even chance, or 50-50. You guys would have heard 50% before. So it's 50%, it's even chance. So we go with that one right dead in the middle. Now what about the next one? It says the sun will rise tomorrow. Well, we know that's definitely going to rise tomorrow. It's a 100% chance, which means that it's certain, and we go at the very, very top of that scale over there. If we're saying what the probability of the king of spades being at the top of a shuffled deck. Now, obviously, we're assuming that that person didn't cheat like I did, but if the person did shuffle it, we know that's very unlikely. Remember, the king of spades is only one of them, so it's a 1 in 52 chance, and we'll talk about that later, but it's a very, very low chance. It's unlikely. Okay, so we can use these words over here, certain, likely, even chance, unlikely, and impossible, to describe the probability of something happening. All right, so the higher up, or the higher percentage, we talk about it being more likely, and the lower percentage, we talk about it being less likely. Okay, so if 2 events have the same chance of occurring, such as flipping a coin, then we call that equally likely, or even chance. They're equally likely to occur. Now, And this word you'll see quite a bit during this topic is fair, a fair coin or a fair dice, right? So this stuff, when we're talking about fair, means that it's equally likely. If I flip a coin that's fair, it's equal chance of getting a heads or a tails. But some people like to rig and make their own unfair dice or unfair coins. For example, you can make a dice that lands more likely to land on a 6. That's an unfair dice. So a fair dice needs to be equally likely for all the outcomes. Okay? So we have to practice when it comes to describing chance. Now, we have to go about, well, is it true or false? So is it likely that children will go to school next year? Now, obviously we know it's not certain because you guys didn't go to school in person this year, but it's very likely that you guys will go to school next year. So we'll put that down as true. For the next one, it is an even chance for a fair coin, remember fair means equal, to display tails. So we know it's fair, which means it's true. Rolling a 3 on a 6-sided die and getting a heads on a coin are equally likely. Now, how many outcomes are there on a 6-sided die? Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And how many outcomes are there on a coin? Well, there's heads and tails. So the outcome of, or the chance of getting a 3 is not the same as the chance of getting a heads. So that's false. And then for this one over here, it is certain that 2 randomly chosen odd numbers will add to an even number. Now that is definitely true. So we're talking about the chance of something occurring, and that study of that chance is probability, and you guys use it in everyday life. Right? Give those textbook questions a go, and good luck.